I've started it now.
Okay, I'll switch off video. It's quite odd just staring into space. So let them see global.
Okay. We're just waiting for people to sign in. Put a few people on. Hi, Peggy. Hi, Alice. We're just going to wait for a few more people to sign in before we start. In the meantime, you can just have a look at what we offer, and I'll go through it in a couple of seconds. We'll wait one more minute. Okay, ladies, I'm going to start, and then if there's any questions or if some people sign in late, we'll just obviously let them know that they can ask questions at any time. So good evening, everyone. My name's Nico. I'm the Managing Director of Global Education. Tonight, we've got Angeline and Kerry from the University of Central Lancashire with us. They're going to be giving a presentation about the university, but before we get there, just a little bit about Global. I'm sure you're all tired of hearing this speech, so I'm not going to do it too long. Obviously, we are the local representatives for the university. We do the entire application and visa process on behalf of the students to make sure that everything is done correctly and to get you there as quickly as possible. You can see a little bit about what we offer on the screen. If you feel at any point that you have any questions that you want to ask or you're not sure about anything, it is obviously the Q&A section for questions. I know that some students in the past have typed in the chat box, so whichever one you want to use, please feel free to. I'll answer the questions in the background, but at the end of the presentation, we'll have a little bit of a Q&A with Kerry and Angeline, and it's a good opportunity for you guys to ask as many questions as possible. The webinar will stay on for as long as there's questions, and then obviously when we get to the end of the questions, we'll end the webinar. So it really depends on how many questions you ask and how long this will go. Okay, Kerry, I'm going to hand over to you, and we'll see you at the end for the questions.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angeline Ward, and I'm the Regional Manager for Sub-Saharan Africa. And thank you very much, Nico, for inviting us to talk to your students. It's a real pleasure to bring you news from Preston in Central Lancashire. And I'll hand over to my colleague, Kerry, who will take us through the session today. Over to you, Kerry.
Hi everyone, I'm Kerry from the University of Central Lancashire. You'll have to bear with me from my side. I am having a few technical difficulties, so I'll try and make this as painless as possible. So my name's Kerry, I'm the International Officer based in the UK, and I work closely with Angeline, who's just spoken. Thanks, Angeline. So all I'm going to do today is just give a brief overview about the university, just so you know a bit more about us, what we represent and what we offer. So Uclan, we are situated in the northwest of England. So you can see on the right hand side, we're pretty much central in the UK. So we are around 2 hours and 30 minutes to London on train, or should you wish to go and visit sunny Scotland, we're also around another 2.5 hours to get to Edinburgh. We are located and nestled in between Liverpool and Manchester also, so it is roughly around an hour should you wish to go and visit either city. We are located in Preston, which is one of the cities in the UK, and quite unique to us, we are the only university that is located in Preston city centre. So Uclan, we are such a large university. We are actually the 5th largest university in the UK. And we have around 38,000 staff and students. Now, to put that number into perspective and give you a bit of an overview, in Preston City, there's a population of around 142,000 people. We are a multi-campus university, so we do have an additional 3 campuses. Our main one in Preston, we have a campus in West Lakes, and we also have a campus in Burnley. We also do have a satellite campus in Lancashire, Cyprus. So from that campus, you can study a variety of business courses and also law. We do have courses delivered in Mauritius and in China, which is a partner institute. Now they're mainly law courses and a few other various ones for China, should you be interested. And recently we have invested 200 million in our brand new facilities. So we have a new Engineering Innovation Centre, which is nicknamed the EIC, sorry. We've also got a variety of social spaces, and we do have a new student centre and square. We are ranked recently 70 out of 130 places in the UK. And that is an overall ranking. We have ranked top 10 and top 5 in majority, well, quite a few of our courses actually, if you want to go to individual rankings. And we have recently topped the National League in Student Wellbeing, which is something that we're really proud of at our university. Talking of wellbeing, we do offer a variety of sort of counselling therapies, mental health advisors. You can also go and visit wellbeing counsellors, and we do offer financial support to those in need. The wellbeing is free for all our students, and you can go in and anytime you want to speak to someone, and it is confidential. So whatever gets discussed between you and a therapist or advisor will stay only between you two. It won't get divulged any further out. We also offer academic skills support at our university, such as seminars, tutorials, and one-to-one sessions. What this means is when you study at Uclan, you will have your course leader, and you will also be given an academic tutor each year to help you out. So there is a variety of different places you can go to, should you need additional support for modules or for the course in general. Again, this is all free. And in addition to the academic skills and the welfare, we do offer careers advice. So this is it's based in the university, and it is Monday to Friday. We have a variety of staff working there. And what our careers do is they will help you when it comes to CV, job searching, should you just want some interview techniques, again, all free. Now, as an international student, you will be working, or you can work up to 20 hours per week on your visa. So this would be the place that you would go to if you were interested in doing some part-time work alongside your studies. They can help you out should you want to do career, something related to your course, or if you want to do something completely different. In addition to wellbeing, academic and careers, we do offer free sports membership. So this is quite a new facility that we have, the sports hall, and it is free again for all students. So day and night you can go in, you can go and do yoga, you can go and play basketball, you can just go and hit out in the gym. We also have a really large sports field. And for those of you interested in rugby, the England rugby team do actually come and train on our sports field. So it's a bit of a fun fact there. For accommodation at Uclan, we do offer accommodation, and it is guaranteed for the full duration of your studies. Now, the prices work out at about £74 per week, and that's including all your bills. So you would just need to pay for food on top of that. Now, the reason we guarantee accommodation, and it is quite cheap compared to other universities in the UK, is because Uclan, as I mentioned previously, is the only university in Preston itself. So we're not in competition with any other universities when it comes to accommodation. For the accommodation, I have heard a few horror stories. You do not share your room with any other student. When you apply for accommodation, there'll be around 4 to 6 people in a flat. You will have your own room with a table, sink, etc. So you just share the living facilities such as your kitchen and your living room and potentially bathroom. What we do try and do is we try and group you with others on your course. So pretty much that you're all on the same timetable and you get to know each other before you actually start. Another popular place on our campus is the Eye, which is pretty much the beaten heart of our campus. So this is the place you'd go to for wellbeing services, or if you needed additional academic support or anything related to maybe your student card's not working. It is open 24 hours, 7 days a week. When you walk in, we do have security on site also, but you can only enter with your student card. So nobody else can just randomly walk in from the street at any point. So graduates, we do offer a lot of places, as I say, with our careers who we work closely with. We've just had updated stats from our graduates. So it's looking at 96% on the recent survey of our graduates are in either full-time education, like continuing education, or they are in full-time work, which we're really proud of because that's a really high number for our graduate, especially being such a big university. We do also offer a number of industry places, which means if you wish to study, say, randomly aerospace engineering, and it's a 3-year course, and you say, okay, I'll do 2 years and then I can go out and do a work placement for 1 year and then come back and do your 4th year. It is worth noting the industry placements are often fully paid, so you will be on a really good living wage while you do it. And it also gives you good insight. For our engineering courses, for those who do industry places, a lot of them, it's a good way as well to get in with a company. Should you wish to stay in the UK or it's an international company, you can go further afield. Subject areas, as you can tell on this page, there's quite a few options. Being such a huge university, we can offer just over 400 undergraduate courses and around 200 postgraduate courses. So you'll see there's different ones such as forensic science, law, business. One question we do get, and it's something we don't offer at Uclan, is if you wish to study business and, let's say, dance. Unfortunately, we don't offer that option, or maths and art, etc. It would have to stay in the same field. Okay, tuition fees. These are for September 2021. So as you can see, they are split up in 3 areas. So we have your lab-based courses, non-lab and non-standard fees. So to make this really simple for everyone, your lab-based courses, pretty much self-explanatory on here. So forensics, engineering, biomedical sciences, anything that you'll be spending most of your time in a lab for. Your non-lab based courses, the fees are those studying law, could be art, business, marketing, etc. So the fee here is your full tuition fee for the year, so it's per year. If you come and study in September 2021 and say you wish to study law for 13,000, that 13,000 would be for per year of your study. It wouldn't go up, so we wouldn't charge you 13,000 for your first year, for your second year, and then your third year just hit you with, I don't know, 20,000 for your final year studies. You will notice medicines on there right at the very bottom on the non-standard fees. So that works out at £44,500 UK pounds per year. Scholarships. This is a question that we get often, is our scholarships and how we work out. So as you can see on this slide, there is a lot of information on here. If I can just draw your attention to the top left-hand corner, that would be the only one really that you would all need. So our scholarships are automatically applied and they go on your academic grades. So you do not need to apply for a course and then apply for a scholarship and send us a letter, an A4 piece of paper telling us why you should be, why you should gain a full scholarship. Sorry, just moving then. So the scholarships, I'll break it down for you. We do offer up to £5,000 per year off your fees. So let's take law again. You wish to study law and the amount was 13,000 per year. You would, if you applied for law and was given a place, you'd automatically get your international bursary on top of £1,000. And then say your grades are really good and you scored an A and 4 Bs, then that means you'd get an additional £2,000 off your fees per year. So that works out £3,000 off your fees each year. So you don't need to do anything else. It's automatically applied every year. If you wanted to work in industry for a year, so say you've done 2 years, the third year you left, and then for industry, and then the fourth year you came back to study, you'd still get the automatic scholarship on from the very beginning. There should be a caveat here though, for our medicine MBBS students, unfortunately, we do not offer any scholarships. So, entry requirements. For most of our undergraduate courses, we do require IELTS 6, which means no component lower than 5.5 or the equivalent, such as your national school certificate, sorry, bit of a mouthful. For MBBS, it is IELTS 7 or equivalent. Now, that's not something that we set, it's something that's set by the board because it's such a high course. And our postgraduates, we do ask for IELTS 6.5, and that's for most of the courses. Obviously, it's individual, so if you want to do something else, we would give you, or Global will give you the actual IELTS score that is required for this. So this is another slide that is a lot of information to take in. So it's our entry requirements, and that is for the region. So undergraduates, year 1. Now year 1 means that's the first year of your course. We do offer foundation. So if you didn't get the UCAS points, we do have a foundation course available for you. So if I just take you out to the left-hand side of the presentation where it says undergraduate and underneath 96 UCAS points. Now, most of our students in the world really, or the UK especially, they do apply through UCAS. That's not a problem. It just means that websites in general for universities will talk about point system instead. So to break it down even simpler, if you wish to apply for nursing, hospitality management, say law, business, fashion, those kinds of courses, you would be looking at least 96 UCAS points. If you were interested in psychology or some engineering courses, you would be looking at the next one down, so 112 UCAS points. So that's the minimum that we'd accept for you to get on that course. Should you wish to study pharmacy, we would ask for 128 UCAS points. So again, that's the minimum that we would require for you to get direct entry onto that course. For our MBBS, because it's such a unique course to itself, we don't actually state UCAS points, but if you're all interested, we will be looking at 136. So in your terminology speak, it would be 3 A's and 2 B's, or 3 7s and 2 6s. That's for our 5-year MBBS course. Now, if you scored just slightly under that, we do offer a new course, which is a 6-year MBBS. So there is a possibility that you could be offered a place on the 6-year course instead of the 5. Now, for postgraduate courses, we ask for a bachelor with honours, and it would have to be the equivalent of a 2-2, and that's what we're looking for on this. I know it's a lot of information to take out, so Global will help you when you do apply for a course, and they'll just tell you exactly how many points you will need or what grade you need in your equivalent. So medicine, which is what I think most students will be interested in. Our medical school is still quite new, so we are 6 years old. We are fully recognised by the GMC, and we are listed on the World Directory of Medical Schools. We have recently been ranked top medical school in the northwest of England, which again, very proud of. And what makes us unique, our medical school, is it's a 5-year course, and from the year 1, you are in a clinical placement. So you will be working with one of our hospitals or in a GP setting. So you will have patient interaction from year 1, which is not standard across the whole UK. So if you are applying for medical school, I would double check that with the school direct and just see, because that's a huge part of what you do as a doctor, or what you will be doing as a doctor. So you want to get that in really early. We also do not ask for UCAT or BMAT. Now, there's some confusion with the UCAT and the BMAT, and some people tend to think, oh, well, I'm not going to apply for them if they don't offer UCAT or BMAT because it's a requirement. To break it down really simple, the UCAT or BMAT is just a recruitment tool. So what other universities ask for is they ask for UCAT BMAT score. Just those who score higher will be accepted to the next stage. Because we're still quite new, and we have around 200 places for September 2021. And last year we had double that applied for our course. All our applications are sent through to a panel. So they are individually checked, which is why we don't ask for UCAT or BMAT. I think it's a better system, but it's entirely up to the student themselves. We also offer such a thing called a spiral learning system. So what that means is from year one, you will be given, okay, I didn't study medical school, so I'm just going to have to wing this terminology slightly. So say year one, you will be given information on a certain module. That means a spiral is in year two, they will give you more addition information on that. Year three, you will build on top of that. Year four, you'll build on top. So it's pretty much like a spiral system. And that means that it's quite a new system. The students absolutely adore it. And that means by the time you then are fully qualified doctor and you go on to your foundation years, you pretty much know it all. Some of our, well, not ours, but some older schools for medical schools, they don't work that way. What they tend to do is they will give you a module in year one, and then they will revisit it again in year three or year four. And then you've got a bit of a gap in between. So it just entirely depends on what you prefer or what you would like to get out of your medical school. I should add on this a little caveat. We do not work on cadavers, so dead bodies. It's a question we get asked all the time. As you can see at the bottom of the screen on your left-hand side, we actually work on anatomage tables. So this is like a giant iPad, I suppose, and you can then dissect and go deeper and deeper and deeper in. It's not actually true that working on a cadaver will make you a better doctor. It's a bit of a falsehood out there, which is why we've got the anatomage tables. So, but they're there for you at any single point. If you want to go in at 10 o'clock at night to just dissect and do anything you want, you just swipe in, go in the school, and you can go work on it. At the bottom, we have put information on there that you can apply directly through our website. There's no cost, and you can just go through that way, or you can apply through UCAS. The bit of a difference is UCAS tends to have a deadline, which is October the 15th for September the following year. We don't have a deadline as such, but we do ask that you apply sooner rather than later. Also, when you apply, you probably would be asked for your TSS, which is a transferable skills statement. We're not asking for this at the moment, purely because the way the world is. So we do understand that a lot of students have not been able to do any clinical settings, or they haven't been able to follow a doctor and see what happens and do volunteer work, etc. So if you don't have your transferable skills statement, it's not a problem. You can still apply without. So how to apply? Obviously, the team at Global will be able to do this for you, or you can apply directly. It's entirely up to you. What you will need is a copy of academic transcripts. It says here with final scores. That's not entirely true. You can apply with your predicted scores. That's not a problem. We wouldn't say just wait until you do your final exams and then apply. You can apply with your predicted. We would ask for a personal statement. Most courses, this personal statement will go directly to the course leader. So this is a pretty important part of your application. If you apply directly through us, it would be nice if you say why you want to apply for the university, not just Uclan in general, for any university you go to. So it could just be going through the course website and seeing what information's on there and say, oh, I want to apply for Uclan because you offer this module, or because you offer this. It's just a nice little extra that the course leader will pick up on. We'd also need evidence of English language. So your IELTS or equivalent, a copy of your passport, and an academic reference. So for your undergraduate, we do ask for 1 academic reference. For postgraduate, it would be 2. There is some additional details. If you are applying for some arts courses, you may need to also do an art portfolio, but the information will be given to you plenty ahead in time, so you know exactly what you need. All right, hopefully this works on my side because I've had a few issues. All it is just a little 2-minute video about our university. Bit of a disclaimer here. It was filmed on our campus, so everything you see and all the equipment does actually belong to us. Okay, and that's pretty much it from my side. I know it's a lot to take in, so we didn't want to overload you too much, and I'm pretty sure you've had quite a few presentations given already. Obviously, the team at Global will be able to help you directly, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with us, or you can also join our community. So we're very active on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also YouTube as well. We do upload quite a few videos on there weekly. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Thanks, Kerry. I really appreciate it. It was a great presentation. I'm just going to share our contact page 2 seconds for everyone. So if you do want to start the application, obviously we know that you can apply via UCAS or directly with the university. We'll do that whole process for you. All our details are there on the screen, so feel free to get in touch with us. Obviously right now we're going to enter into the Q&A section of the presentation. I know there was one that came up in the chat. I'm just gonna bring it up 2 seconds. Okay, so it was about medicine. I think you covered all of that, Kerry, so I'm not gonna go into it again because you did have the entry requirements and all of that. So whilst we wait for some questions to come through, I'll ask you ones that we've been asking all the other universities. In terms of COVID, because obviously this is the big thing at the moment. How has it been on campus at the moment? How have current students been dealing with it? And how's the university sort of been handling international students that have started their studies?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, can hear you.
I'll let Angeline answer. I think she's...
Cool.
Okay, thanks, Kerry. I thought I was going to say, Kerry, go ahead. Thank you, Nico. The main thing about the whole COVID situation has been communication, because the situation is evolving all the time. And when it happened, when it first happened, people kind of, we got into all the sanitizing, social distancing, and that all got really well established. And then students went home for Christmas. And that has actually been the toughest time, because about that time, the cases went up. And so the university decided that only those who physically needed to be on campus, so we are talking of the doctors, the nurses, the practical programs, were allowed back on campus. However, we had some international students who could not go back home. So even though they did not have practical courses, they were almost at the wrong place at that point. And so the student support team has been brilliant. So those students were actually looked after. You know, some of them didn't have enough food and just loneliness. So they were checking in on them. They were supporting them with food, with shopping, counseling, as Kerry said, that is something that we rank very highly in. So the support has been brilliant, and not just to the students actually, because sometimes you think it's all about students, it's about the staff as well, because, you know, we've been working from home since March. And if we are going to look after students, then we need to be in the right frame of mind. So the support for both staff and student community has been absolutely brilliant. And the communications that go out to students. So each time when the Prime Minister is about to make a big announcement, the students will be told, look, don't listen to what your friends tell you. We will tell you how we are interpreting the directions from the government. Because what happens is, if I've got a friend at another university and they're doing something, then panic stations, are we going home? Are we allowed to do this? And that has been a very, very important way of the students knowing that, yes, maybe that university is doing that, but we are waiting for instructions from Uclan, and that has been very clear. So far, touch wood, everything has gone brilliantly. And of course, we've got a massive testing center on campus now. So as the situation evolves, the measures in place have also evolved. Kerry, I don't know if you want to add anything to that?
No, pretty much what you've said, really. We are prioritising those who study medicine, so they are pretty much the only students on campus, and the rest are like us, working online or sitting on your bedroom floor working on a laptop.
Fantastic, thank you, ladies. That was actually a really extensive answer, because you know, in other presentations it hasn't been broken down so well. So I think it's good for other students to hear what actually is happening on campus at the moment. We've got two questions that have come in. The first one from Raphael is, what is the university's unique selling point? So I don't know who wants to answer that.
Kerry, you want to go first and I'll cover? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, no problem. It actually depends what course you're going to be in or you're interested in. I'd say if it comes to, we're quite a modern university, even though we have been around for a really long time. So we do practice more for real world. So a lot of universities, it's more about theory, which is not us. Obviously theory is important, but we do get the element of preparing the graduates for the real world. So once you finish your studies and it's your first day on the job, you're just not sitting there with the theory and have absolutely no idea what to do. You do have the practical skills needed. And some of our other courses, so for medicine, like I mentioned with the spiral, that's quite different compared to other medical schools. So it really just depends on the course. Yeah, sorry, Angeline, do you want to add on top of that?
Right. What I would say about Uclan is the support that the students get. And sometimes, you know, people say, how can you give too much support? And so when you look at the practical subjects like the medicine, the support that the students get, and if you chat to our students online, because we've got a chat function, it is the level of support, whether it's academic or financial, because we understand, especially for international students, you are coming from a different environment. It doesn't mean that, you know, if you've got AAA in South Africa and somebody has got AAA in the UK, academically you're all the same, but you're starting from different levels. And from the moment you apply, the support you get, the guidance you get is actually going to help you settle into the program quite quickly. And also, as Kerry says, the whole work ethic, because we are an ex-polytechnic where you went to education to get a job and to work and to earn money. So that ethic is there. So we've got a lot of work placement is a huge focus on our programs, because we want you to graduate work ready as Kerry said. And the only way you can do that is by actually doing practical trials, whether you're doing engineering, be it paid internships or voluntary internships. But what we want you to do when you leave Uclan is to have something that makes you stand out. And so that is the support. And to me, that is our unique selling point, whatever the program.
Fantastic. And Angeline, I can see that you're answering one of the questions now, but maybe we can just answer it live for everyone. So Peggy's asked about the medical fees. Is the 44,000 per medicine for medicine per year? Is that the set fee, or is it a different fee from year 1 and then year 2, year 3?
Oh, I see. I started typing and then I left when Kerry called me. So it's 44,500 per year. So that is for September 2021. So if you join us, as she said, in September 2021, that will be the fee that you will pay throughout. The people who joined us last year, for example, they were paying a different fee, because obviously it depends on the economics or whatever fee has been set for that year. So that is the fee that you will pay each of your 5 years until you finish, which is very useful when you're budgeting, because you kind of need to know roughly where you're going to, where things will be. So that is what you pay, and that is your fee for the duration. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Ladies, I'm going to go back to the COVID questions whilst we wait for some more to come through, because obviously, you know, it is a big part, and it's been a major factor with a lot of the students, you know, coming in for consultations and asking a whole bunch of questions. So just a follow up to the COVID questions, obviously on campus, but for the students who've started their studies and are mainly online, how are they coping? Are they managing with the online classes? Do you find that they are getting through the work the same way they would if they were on campus, as opposed to obviously being completely online at the moment?
I'll jump in and answer before Angeline.
Oh, yeah, go on.
While you were taking yourself off mute, I was going to jump in. So far, we've only heard good feedback. We've had really good feedback from the students. They're really well supported, especially those living on campus. And that's, COVID's really shown another reason why we suggest to students to apply for Uclan accommodation. Because if there's any issues, we can always jump in and help out, which is not always the case if they're private. And for accommodation, you're also living with 3 others, or it could be 5 others. So there's a bit of a support bubble, and you tend to be living with others on the same course as you. So for medicine, for example, most of our medical students are all in one accommodation. So they're all pretty much each other's support bubble as well. Angeline, do you want to?
Yeah, one of the things at the very beginning of the pandemic, as I said, some students were out of the UK. And those are actually, you would think that those who are home were having a lovely time being at home. Now, when it comes to lectures online from 9 till 5, and we know how the connection is in Sub-Saharan Africa, sometimes there were challenges there, and the university did a lot. There was a fund available to help them to make sure they've got the right Wi-Fi connectivity, because that is how everything has gone now. Some students who are in the UK, for example, even though, you know, you'd think they're not far from home, but they couldn't, even though there was a ban and we were in lockdown, they were not able to study at home because of personal circumstances. So those students were enabled to come back on campus and supported. So as I said at the beginning, communication lines opened in a way that I haven't seen at Uclan before, just because suddenly you realize that, you know, goalposts have changed for everybody. We're all at different positions. And so it was, the students knew who to contact, those communications telling them, if you're having issues with, you know, this event, this is the person you need to contact. And the response was immediate. And so over time, that has been perfected. And it is still changing now, because now we've got this scenario where at the end of March, people are supposed to come back. Some have underlying health issues. So yes, students got, you know, especially if you've been in your room and there are not many people around, I think as human beings, you feel down, those, you know, depression issues. So the level of support and the level of counseling was stepped up. it would be false for us to say that they were all happy, but what it means is that we knew where the touch points were, and we knew where the support was needed and where to extend that, and to encourage them to look after each other. And the Students' Union has been fantastic. Also, because sometimes you just need that peer-to-peer, come on, let's get on with it and we will get through this together. And sometimes you needed intervention from management, and that has been available throughout. So it's been brilliant.
Fantastic. I can see, Kerry, you've decided you're going to answer this one. So I'm just going to read the question out for everyone to see. So it's from Peggy again, and she wants to know, do personal interviews form part of the selection process for the medical entry? And I think there's a follow-up to her question, which is not exactly got to do with medicine, but with the university itself. What is the crime rate like in Preston?
Okay, so Peggy, the first part, your personal interviews, yes, they do. So you would apply with your usual personal statement, academic grades, English, etc. If you hit the grades, you would be invited to interview. Now, because of COVID, we are not doing in-person MMI interviews. We are doing, it's like an online interview. So it is around 45 minutes, and it's kind of a Q&A with two medical academics. So instead of the usual MMI interviews where it'd be 8 stations. So that's the only difference. It is on Skype, and that would be part of your selection process, yes. The crime rate in Preston, it's really, really super safe city. We are pretty small anyway, but as I said earlier on in the presentation, the campus pretty much takes over the city. We've also won awards for how safe Preston is in general in the whole of the UK. But what a lot of our students do like is, if you stay on Uclan accommodation, you are around at most a 10-15 minute walk to campus. So you can just roll out of bed and go to school. However, if you wanted to stay in the library to complete some work, and say you're alone, it's midnight and you want to just make sure that you get home okay, you can just ring security and they will watch to make sure you get back on the cameras and that you've got in. Your accommodation for the main gates, only those who live there can swipe in. So it is super safe and secure, but I'm sure Angeline will probably add on. Sorry, Angeline.
No, it's fine. And I think, security is an interesting one. I come from Africa, and when I came to the UK, one of the things that fascinated me was when you're walking at night, of course, if you've got money and you're holding money in your hand, people are going to, attack you. That is common sense. But just in terms of that general sense of you're always watching your back. I do, you get on a train and you're like holding your bag tight. That isn't the same. When I go to London, I have to remind myself that I'm not in Preston anymore. So it's just the dynamics. Being a smaller city, it is a lot safer, but we still ask you to be sensible in what you do. So if you go, Preston is one of the safest cities in the UK. It doesn't mean that you'll never meet drunk people who will, perhaps somebody will shout to do something, but actually comparatively safe city. And as Kerry says, the security on campus is something we pride ourselves in, because not many universities have that level of security where, you'll say, look, it is later, I want to walk to my apartment and I don't feel safe, and they will come and escort you. They actually do that. So it is pretty special. It is very safe.
Fantastic. Thanks, ladies. I'm going to jump to the next question. I know Kerry is answering an accommodation one there, but I'll jump to Raphael's. He's asking, is racial discrimination something that students have to worry about both on and off campus?
Right, I'll get on to that one. I think racial discrimination, as regional manager for Sub-Saharan Africa, one of my main not focus, but one of the things I'm very particular about is how we position ourselves. Because if you leave the word racial, it's about discrimination, it's how we value other people. So for me, what's important is, how do you look at other people? Because that is how they look at you. And a lot of times I find when students come, just because of shyness, or perhaps they don't know the culture, because it takes time to get into a new system, a new way of life, to make the difference between, is it a curious question or is it a question that makes you feel uncomfortable? And the minute somebody feels uncomfortable, then something needs to be done. And so that is what we try to teach the students, that you need to feel comfortable and you need to make other people feel comfortable. And it comes down to that mutual respect and understanding different cultures, because when you arrive on campus, it's not just us from Africa. You know, we're going to meet people from China, from other continents as well. So yes, if there is an incident, and things do happen, so I wouldn't say we've never ever had an issue where there's been an accusation. If there is an incident, it needs to be dealt with. Most times it is an education problem. As a city or as a town, I haven't experienced it, and it is not obvious. But sometimes there are things like around the time of Black Lives Matter, I think people became a bit hypersensitive. And so if you did something to me, Nico, I'd be like, right, so what was he thinking and what was he? So, you know, you kind of start to overthink it. So what we did, rather than let students overthink things and perhaps get uncomfortable, is we had lectures about, and we talked about discrimination, about race, about respect for each other. What is it that, because some people would say, and especially in the African culture, oh, they were just joking. And when does a joke become a joke? And when is a joke a step too far? So also it's that education of letting you know when to say, right, hang on, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not reporting because I'm saying, you know, Nico's done something bad, but I didn't feel comfortable, and then we deal with it. So yes, incidents may happen, but they're not common, but there is a structure and a system that we educate students on how to deal with it, because everybody is learning in that situation. Okay.
Fantastic. Raphael's come back with the second question here. He says, what societies are available to students, and are students able to form their own?
Yes, Raphael, there's over 70, and we will send you the link to this. There's over 70 societies, and the best part is that you can form your own. I mean, there are some crazy ones, things that, you know, you think people who you fancy doing, I don't know, fencing or wrestling, exactly, you know, food. There is the regular ones, and then there's societies for people who are watching, you know, specific flowers or stars. So the Students' Union has guidance on how to form a society. As long as you've got quorum and you've got determination and why you want to form that society, we welcome it all. And also with the clubs, you know, say you like dancing, but you just like dancing for exercise and not for competition. Or you may want to say, well, I love dancing and I want to get into competition. So then that opens a whole new world. So there is the dancing club, but there is dancing for competitions, and there's for national competitions and regional competitions. So there's a plethora of clubs and societies. And yes, we welcome you to form your own.
Fantastic. Thanks, Angeline. I think I'm going to throw one more out there. Obviously, we've had questions about accommodation and fee prices and all of that. It does pertain again back to COVID, but I think it's very relevant for a lot of the parents at the moment. Obviously, you know, not being able to work, maybe not having the same income that they had before. Has the university sort of looked at any sort of payment plans or payment options, or restructured the way that they are looking at receiving payments from students in order to help these students or parents sort of, you know, get through this period?
Kerry, do you want to answer that?
I'll let you, Angeline. Sorry.
Okay.
I was just reading the next question. Sorry.
No, it's fine. You're focusing on something. So in terms of fee payment, that has, not just because of COVID, but when you look at, you know, the international fees, we have a very generous scholarship scheme, but it is still a lot of money, especially given that by the time we're asking you to pay, even if you had 13,000 reduced with the scholarships to 10, by the point you get to that stage, you'll have paid for your visa, for your TB test. There's quite a lot of other costs that most students will have incurred. And so what we as a university have done is we do have a payment plan, which has always been there, and we've always opened communication with finance. So there is the amount that you will be required to pay the deposit for your visa, which is standard, and that is just in terms of checking that this is a committed student, and that for the first time in a long time, that's coming to 4,000 in 2021. Once you've paid for the deposit for your visa, for your CAS letter, and not your visa, you've paid the deposit and we've given you a CAS letter. When you arrive at Uclan, the first thing we do is you have an option. You can then say that in that first semester, you're going to make up the difference so that you're paying 50%. And if you've already paid 4,000 over 10,000 balance, so you've only got another 1,000 to pay for that first semester. And then the balance is going to be paid in the second semester. Now, with that, obviously, you've got to arrange it with finance, but we will guide you through that. And I think that is a very generous system in place. Now, some people, perhaps they're able to pay everything. And for that, we give you a small, an early payment discount if you're able to pay everything up front. But we totally understand, because there's so many things that you need to buy. And I would encourage you not to worry about it, as long as you know that you will have, because you've had this money in your account for the 28 days that is required. So you've gotten to that point. Take 50%, have a bit of a breather, and then come January, you'll pay the second installment. And finance are always, because sometimes there's situations where the tuition fees are due, the transfer has arrived, but the money hasn't cleared. We know all these things happen from Africa. You don't know what the banks have done. What we say is, please talk to us, because if you keep quiet, that is when you run into problems. If you communicate, those channels of conversations are always open, and we really understand, because we want you to come to Uclan. Okay?
Fantastic. Kerry, I know you're going to answer this because you read it, so I'm just going to read it out for everyone else. So this is from Anonymous, and he or she wants to know, are there many Muslim students, and are there things like prayer facilities available for Muslim students on campus?
Yeah, there is, of course there is. We do celebrate all faiths at Uclan. So what we do have is a new faith centre. It is quite new, actually. It's only a few years old. And they have all kinds of prayer facilities in there for you. Nico's just got rid of the question, so I couldn't get the first one.
I can bring it back up.
Sorry.
No problem. So the student was saying, are there things like prayer facilities available for Muslim students?
Yeah.
And how many Muslims, are there Muslims on campus?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, we do have a lot of obviously international students. So roughly there's around just over 2,500, I think, last count, are international students. And a lot of those do come from the Middle East as well. So we are very accepting, and we do look after every single faith there. I don't know if Angeline wants to add on, but.
And in terms of things like during Ramadan, the students are supported through the Muslim Society. They will, obviously now we don't know what's going to happen with COVID, but there will be, something will happen, I can assure you of that. But it's through societies like that that we try to figure out, well, this is what has happened. How can we support them? A lot of our decisions are actually student-led, because, if I'm going to help you, I need to know that it's going to work for you. So the students will tell us, well, this is what we need. This is how we want to make it work. And the peer system and peer support at Uclan is very strong. So it's not something that, the third years are the ones, or postgraduate students are dictating. But in the societies, there's representation from all levels. And they say, this is the problem we have. How can we resolve it? So yes, there is support. And, it's as Kerry says, not just the Muslims, we've got Catholics, and sometimes, because most of Africa is, there is a very large proportion of Christianity. And when they come to the UK, I've seen, where they have the faith groups and the prayer meetings, and sometimes they get shocked when they hear that there are people who are atheists, and that's not something that's very common. And then it comes back to that cultural interaction where we want them to realize that now your eyes are going to be open to the world. There are things that you will know that are perhaps not in your culture, but it is an education process. And that teaching of acceptance is a really big lesson that we encourage, because that is how you survive in this world. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks, Angeline. Well, the questions are flooding in again. We're going to go back to Raphael, and he wants to know, outside of studying, what does Preston have to offer students in terms of things to do?
Okay, I'll answer. So it really depends what you're interested in. So Preston is on the outskirts of Preston. It's quite rural. So the famous Lake District, I'm not sure if anyone's heard of it. So you can do absolutely anything. You can go shopping. Preston does have its own football team. Apparently they're quite good. So you can go and watch a match there. We also have rugby, cricket. What else? You can also just jump on the train and go. Because of our location, it's really easy just to jump on the train and go further afield for the day, should you wish to go and see Scotland or parts of London, etc. So there's a lot of variety. It just completely depends on what you're into, really.
Mm-hmm. And I think what I'd like to add there is Preston is a small city, but it has all the unique shops that you would find. So, when people come, you're asking, do we have a Marks and Spencer? Do we have, all those branded shops? Yes, we do have. They're just smaller. So if you wanted to do shopping and you wanted the basics, you can go into Preston, and it is, it's not a big city, but you can get what you want. And then occasionally you'll think, well, let's go into Manchester, where we'll have a store that's on 4 floors. So yes, you do have that option. But actually what that means is you've got a choice. And for me personally, I then say, well, I'd like to go to London now. And when you go to London, it's wonderful to see all those, the museums, and most of it is free, and the bars and everybody everywhere, crowded undergrounds. But when you come to Preston, you kind of think, oh, thank goodness now we can breathe. So it depends on what you like as a student. And this is something you have to be very, very open and honest to yourself about, because some people will say, oh, I like the sound of that. It sounds a small city. And then you may find it too quiet if you like that sort of buzzy, loud place. Now, this is an investment. It's like buying a house. You're going to be here for a long time, 5 years if it's medicine, or 3 years if it's a degree. So you need to be honest with yourself and say, if you love the big city, big lights and everything, then perhaps maybe not Preston. But if you want a place where you can have all the amenities, but actually be able to go, as Kerry said, we're so well connected by trains, by buses and roads, then it would be ideal for you. And I personally think for studies, it's quite easy to focus in this less loud area and then be able to dip in and out of the louder environments.
Awesome, thanks, Angeline.
Nico, you're smiling. What do you like? Do you like it loud?
So, to be honest, I studied in Perth, and at the time when I studied, I thought I was going to a big and loud, city, and turned out to be a lot quieter and more like a university town type, So I probably would have gone to like Melbourne. So I don't think at the time when I was studying, Preston would have been the place for me. But now, as I'm older, I think I probably would go to Preston, because I don't really want to be in a big city.
In the loud. And I think that's a really good experience to share with the students, because they know themselves, and sometimes they look at it and they think, well, if it's like, in Africa, there are times you want to go somewhere and the transport is so difficult and it's a big bother, you have to go and spend the night, and that's incurring expenses, then that complicates it. But if it's a place like Preston, where, it's less than 50 minutes to Manchester, and you can go there, do what you have to do and come back and stay in your not so expensive accommodation, then, it makes a difference. But yeah, I take that on board. This is all according to personal taste, really.
Definitely. And that's definitely something that we talk to students about before, you make your final decision. We do help you, get an understanding of who you are, because we're not going to recommend you go somewhere if it doesn't suit your personal needs. Just to get to the next question, ladies, it's from Peggy again. She's saying here, you mentioned that your roots go all the way back to 1828, but exactly how old is Uclan itself?
Angeline.
Do a quick Google search.
Get a calculator here. So basically, we started, this is 2021. We started in 1828 as, it was called then, the Institute for the Diffusion of Knowledge. So that's where it started as, not even a polytechnic. I mean, I don't know what things looked like in 1828, but it was basically one street, And so we became a modern university in 1992. So when you hear them say, you know, the post-92 universities or modern universities, it means that it was a polytechnic and then it became a university. But as an institution of learning, it goes back to 1828. So that's why we say the history started. And then the names changed, and then it became a polytechnic. For a very long time, it was called Preston Polytechnic. And some of the buildings that is, you know, that have always been there. And then at some point, the School of Journalism, for some reason, because of, you know, Manchester and all the media houses there, they needed a training place, and somehow it just happened to be at Uclan. So the School of Journalism in itself within the Preston Polytechnic was very big before we actually became a university. So I hope that answers your question, that we have been educating people in Lancashire for all that time, but we've had various names over the years. Peggy, I hope that is satisfying.
I think it's a good enough answer for Peggy. Ladies, I just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think that's all the questions. I know it's getting a bit late here, and I don't want to keep you on for too long. Obviously, everyone that's joined us, please feel free to contact either us at Global Education or the ladies directly at Uclan, and we can get the process rolling if you want to put in some applications. I know it's not too late for the 2021 September intake, so please feel free to get in touch. But again, just thank you so much for being part of the virtual webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it engaging, and I hope the next time we do this, it's in person. I know, Kerry, you've been to one of our expos, but maybe Angeline, you can come with Kerry on the next one.
I look forward to that. And I'd like to thank you so much, Nico, for inviting us. And to the people who've attended today, we hope we've answered your questions. And if you think of any more questions, we'd love to chat. We see, Kerry and I like talking, so please let us know. Just one thing that we would like to send the people, those interested in medicine, because of, you know, the interview process and the timing, we've actually got a 2021 applicant guide for medicine, which would be a useful document to have. So we'll send you a copy, Nico, and
Sure.
to the students as well. But if you have any questions, and what I encourage students to do is, don't just take our word for it. I encourage you to chat to current students. And we've got a fantastic ambassador platform where you can, you know, log on, and the students are there. You choose the subject, ask them about their experience. Don't listen to us older people thinking, you know, quiet, and they may tell you where you can go. So please do that. And we hope to see you in person before too long. And Kerry, thank you for a fantastic presentation. You are brilliant. Thank you. Okay.
Just to add to that before you go, we do have a number of students that have gone to Uclan over the years, definitely over the last 3 years. And we have always put new prospective students in touch with them. So you're more than welcome to speak to other South African students who've gone through the process as recently as last year, if you like.
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you so much again for joining us. I really appreciate it. Kerry, always a pleasure to see you. Angeline, very nice to meet you for the first time. And hopefully next time it's in person.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.